In Tucson, 1490 and 1049 FM. I'm Zach Clark. This is the Zach Clark Show. Gladly taking those phone calls today at 298-1490, 298-1490. That is the All Pro Plumbing studio line. You can check them out, allprorooterandplumbing.com. Have we all calmed down from last night? And not that we didn't have reason to be riled or to be surprised, but I've been covering the NFL draft, not like an expert, but I've been following along since I was a little kid, and then we've been doing this draft show like we did yesterday for a few years now. I have never been that surprised that many times in 90 minutes. I mean, we talked about the unpredictability or the unknowns going into the first round yesterday, and I said, and Stacy, we talked about this. I said, I know that there's a lot of talk right now about unknowns, but aren't there always a lot of unknowns? And it turns out that the unknowns, I was trying to downplay it, and I should not have been. It was, well, come on. It was a mix of just, I don't even know how to say it, panic, need, risk, savvy, good moves, bad moves. I mean, it was just, I've never been captivated like that. It was like watching reality TV. The drama was, I felt like my wife loves Teen Mom, right? And all that other garbage. Oh. But it's all like wild. No, I know I do too. But it's all like wild drama, right?
Yeah.
Kiss it, MTV. Kiss it. This is way better than
You are
that.
never going to get as real as this. I mean, what happened last night was just unreal.
I was going to say nobody got pregnant, but I can't actually prove that. There's a lot of reasons to celebrate last night for some folks.
Some 49ers fans might be.
Well, I was talking about the draft picks, but yeah, them too. Yeah. Making love to cutouts of John Lynch. Oh, John, you're so savvy. Oh, John.
It's a little awkward, but all right. Whatever floats your
hey,
boat.
Man,
whatever floats your boat, Niners fans.
When is the last time the Niners got to stand up and say, you know what? We did it. We did something that we should have done. We were able to make a good move or series of moves. Though,
when did they hire Harbaugh?
Oh my God, 7 years ago.
No, it's been more than that. Hasn't
Really?
It?
Oh, 8? Not. It wasn't
something
10.
like that.
But here's the thing, and I've got to say this before we go any further. San Francisco, John Lynch, as far as being a first-time GM, period, not like first time with this team,
well
like coming out of the booth and doing this, excellent job.
Yep.
Excellent job. But if we're going to give John Lynch credit, we have to point out that he was sitting there when Ryan Pace vomited and they flipped picks. He didn't ask to be vomited on. It just kind of happened.
I was going to say, did he really do anything, or did he just get lucky beyond all belief?
Well, somebody's got to say yes. And he was the one that said, yes, I will do this. And, we don't know what the conversations were like between Lynch and Pace. Lynch could have been just like, oh, man, I don't know. I mean, we really like Trubisky. I don't know if we want to part with him. Who's Trubisky? Trubisky? As they're back in the draft room. Yeah. Give me Solomon Thomas on the phone. Trupansky? It's like in Rookie of the Year when the manager can't pronounce Gardenhire's name. Gardenhosen. What do you mean you don't know? You've never seen that movie? Oh, man. I'm so disappointed right now.
I think I saw it when I was 10.
And I've seen it a bunch of times since then.
And I have not.
Of course not. So yeah,
it was awful.
That's
right. Awful.
I'm in shock. Like I'm frozen.
Are you really shocked though?
The fact that anybody would have the gall to say that to me, to my face, I can't. So yeah, John Lynch could not have had a better day. The Niners, they had the best day ever. Mm-hmm. That's it. They get Solomon Thomas, the guy they wanted all along, and then they just clean up in picks. They absolutely cleaned house. I don't know if Ryan Pace is back in Chicago. I would assume so. After they make their big first-round haul, they always fly the kid back, and they have all these great press conferences and all that other good stuff. But I would fare to guess if he wasn't already. And this actually isn't a commentary on the danger of Chicago. I wasn't trying to make a cheap joke. But I bet Ryan Pace has to travel. You know the Pope Mobile? It's like the big encased glass thing to protect him. Ryan Pace needs a Pace Mobile. It's got to be covered in bulletproof glass because the people in Chicago have to be just like, what are you doing? We were terrible for years for this moment. You went out, you signed a quarterback, and then what did you do? You mortgaged our future to get another young and unproven quarterback. Cool. Now we have two. It's like a bobblehead collection. Hey, come in, look at our quarterbacks. Aren't they young? Aren't they nice? Ooh. You add them up together, they're only 47. Ooh. What are you doing? Are they going to trade one of them?
They don't know what they're doing. That's the problem.
Well, that was pretty obvious after what we saw last night. I mean, here's the thing with this draft. If one of these guys is Andrew Luck, okay. Yeah, trade away half your team and all of your draft picks for the next 2 years. You don't need them. You got this guy, right? Cool. But none of these gentlemen are that. And you know what? If you are the Bears and you are dead set that the Niners, who are never going to do this, we're going to take Trubisky, then just take Mahomes. What are you doing? You don't need to do that. The separation between these quarterbacks is not enough for you to be trading like that.
Well, what about the Chiefs moving up?
Don't even get me started on the Chiefs.
Going from 27th to 10. So you swap spots there. You also give them the third round pick this year.
And next year's pick.
first.
And how old is Alex Smith? I mean, he's not young per se, but
he'll still be around for another 4 or 5 years.
And people are saying, well, they don't think Alex Smith can take him to a Super Bowl. Andy Reid is the head coach. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. That team's always going to be good. They're always going to be successful or competitive in their own division.
And they will never win the Super Bowl.
And they will never win a Super Bowl. That's it. That's it. So I don't know what happened last night. If there was like maybe they – oh, no, I was going to say I was outside. Maybe there was not enough oxygen in the room, and some people were going a little crazy. I don't know. I don't know. Were they handing out 5-hour energy drinks by the dozen at the door to the GMs? Hey, who wants to get squirrely? All right. Madness. Let's go phones. 298-1490, All Pro Plumbing Studio Line. Hey, Rick, how are you, sir?
Guys, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Great to have you.
The only thing I can figure out is that Ryan Pace must have been watching the Kevin Costner movie Draft Day the night before. Only problem is it's not going to have a happy ending like it did in the movie for the Bears. Trade made no sense. No one was killing themselves to get Trubisky. He's far from a can't-miss prospect,
right.
And there's no position in sports that's harder to figure out translating from one level to the next. It's crazy all the way around.
Hey, Rick, thanks for the phone call, brother. Appreciate it. And, here's the thing. Am I sitting here today telling you that this move is going to be a guaranteed fail? No. I can't do that. But if we're in the game of hedging our bets, if we're in the game of trying to make the best decision with the best intent, thinking forward and thinking now, is that the move to make? Yes, if you did not go out and get Mike Glennon in the offseason. Well, we want options. Well, now you're out of draft options. You have quarterback options, both of which could be terrible, right? I mean, Mike Glennon was drafted, and then what happened? What did Tampa Bay – why was Mike Glennon available? Oh, that's right, because Tampa Bay drafted another quarterback. Is that just like Mike Glennon's thing? It's like, have you ever seen the movie Good Luck Chuck? It's terrible. If you haven't, don't see it. But like Dane Cook becomes the female good luck charm. Like if you date Dane Cook's character and break up with him, the next relationship you'll get married. Right? So women are flocking to him because they want to get married, right? So it's almost like the reverse. With Glennon, if you sign him, you are destined to draft a quarterback in the relatively near future. Tampa Bay did it. At least they waited a couple years. The Bears didn't even wait a couple months. The disrespect. I don't even think it's disrespect. I think it's crazy. I mean, and do you think Mike Glennon picked up the phone and called Alex Smith and said, hey, guy, what the hell is going on here? What's happening to us? Why are these teams doing this? I don't know. And then if you're the Cardinals, you're saying, oh, okay, well, we probably would have liked Trubisky, but we didn't think he's going to be here. But you say, it's okay. We really like Mahomes. He's going to be there. Mahomes comes off the board at 10, and you say, okay, that's all right. We really wanted Mahomes, but don't worry. Deshaun Watson's going to be there. And then right before that, boom, Houston takes Deshaun Watson. So it's like you're...
And the deal there is, Houston needs a quarterback. So why aren't you trying to move up even ahead of Houston?
Well, and I guess that begs the question, is that answering the question, were the Cards going to go quarterback? And I think the answer is no.
See, I think they were, though.
But you're not the first person to have that thought. And if Steve Keim didn't think, oh, Houston, man, they don't have a quarterback. Oh, Tom Savage, ooh, bad news. We should do something. That didn't happen. So why? Is it because they couldn't get a deal done? Is it because those that were asking or those that were willing were asking too much? I don't know, Stace, but you're absolutely
I guess
right.
People up front were asking a ton, apparently.
Well, they were going to ask too much.
People were giving it up.
That's what I'm saying. Trades were made right in front of the Cardinals. And what I don't understand.
I will say I'm glad, hey, you didn't, mortgage the next 5 years just to move up 3 spots and get a
They didn't do it. They didn't do what Chicago did. They didn't do what Kansas City did. But I have to ask, and I'm not like a draft expert, and I'm certainly not a MAC football expert. But when you look at Hassan Reddick from Temple, why didn't you draft Reuben Foster? I know there was a couple of question marks there, but last year they drafted Robert Kimdiche. Same amount of questions. I think Kimdiche scared them. I think he did. Not that he's been a complete bust, way too early for that. He had an injury-plagued rookie season, but they took a chance on a guy in the first round. And at first everybody's like, oh my God, you guys are geniuses. Nobody else had the balls to do this. Yes, excellent, smart. He had 1 sack.
Yeah.
1. So, and again, I'm not saying that's going to stick. That he can't become a better football player or that he can't become a more productive football player. But I have to wonder if those question marks around Kimdiche last year gave Keim and his crew just a little pause when you look at Reuben Foster, because he still went in the first round. And then if we're talking about question marks.
But can't you say that the pick they had was a question mark? I mean.
I'm talking about like off the field.
Okay.
I'm talking about off the field.
Okay.
I'm talking about off the field. No. Every pick is a question mark. Andrew Luck himself was a question mark. Peyton Manning was a question mark. You don't know until they step on the field. Man, after the draft, before the first season started with Peyton Manning, they were still, it wasn't on draft day when they said, oh, they took Peyton first. He's got to be the one. No. There was still people chirping, oh, Ryan Leaf. Nobody says that guy's name anymore unless the sentence ends in prison. There's no debate now. It's settled. It's over. It's done. And, we're talking about gambles, and the NFL says, well, we take off-the-field incidents seriously. But I mean, and I know that innocent until proven guilty, but this is not a risk-averse league. I mean, the Oakland Raiders drafted that kid out of Ohio State who was accused of rape like 2-3 weeks ago. That's... So you can't tell me, Reuben Foster, he got mad at I'm not condoning anybody's behavior. Reuben Foster got kicked out of the combine because he got into an altercation with a hospital staff worker, which is bizarre, to say the least. But this is not a risk-averse league, and the Cardinals have been willing to take risks on people in a variety of ways, whether it's off the field, like Kimdiche last year, or the guy like Chris Johnson. Roll the dice, see what he has, Dwight Freeney. And it, for the most part, worked out really well, except for Kimdiche. So I have to wonder if that didn't play into some of it last night. 298-1490, All-Pro Plumbing Studio Line. Andrew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
All right, so completely understandable that the Bears gym is getting blasted. However, I do believe he was moving up because he thought somebody else was trying to move up. I don't think he was like, oh, the Niners are going to take him. I think he was thinking, oh, somebody's going to trade ahead of us to take Trubisky.
Yeah, it was like a preemptive. It was like a preemptive strike. But I mean, Andrew, I'll admit, I don't know why they did what they did, but to me, no matter what they did, they gave up too much to get what they ended up with. As opposed
not
to
only that, yeah.
as opposed to sitting and waiting for Mahomes at the next pick or Watson at the next pick. I don't see Trubisky as being that valuable as opposed to the other two quarterbacks that you could have easily had if indeed somebody else did trade in front of you. But Andrew, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and on top of that, yeah, I'm not sold on Trubisky. And if you know that you're going to try to go after a quarterback, why did you pay Mike Glennon so much?
And again, that's the mystery, Andrew. Thanks for the phone call, brother. I appreciate it. You're right. Some of these things may not appear as wonky as I'm making them, but for the most part, it does, and it is. Very quickly, Stacey, we got to hit this break. But one thing that hasn't been talked about enough because there's just so much wackiness, what the Carolina Panthers did. I don't like the Panthers. Not a huge Cam Newton fan. Stacey, I am in love. Love, amor.
And can I also say the Browns
Oh, yeah.
did very well.
Thank you for saying that because I didn't even get to that. But what Cleveland did in taking no gamble on number one, going with Myles Garrett the way you should have. And, for the first time that I can remember, a draft pick of the Cleveland Browns said, I'm ready. Let's turn this around. Cleveland needed a movement. I don't know if they're going to be any good, but I feel like a movement may be beginning. And then they were able to move back, take a tight end. I mean, Gary Barnidge was their leading receiver last year, but that's not something you're going to walk around being proud of. And then in between, they
Jabril Peppers.
Which I don't know what's going to happen to him. He is such a wild card, but he is one of those guys that is so versatile. I have to imagine in a good system, they will find a spot for him. So they were able to take a gamble in the middle, Stacey, 3 first-round draft picks. I give them an A. I mean,
I do too.
I'm not a teacher. I'm not a draft expert, so I don't get to give grades. But if I had a red pen, A. One quick phone call before we break. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm well, man. Thanks for the call.
Hey, I just want to say that I want to thank the Bears for giving everything to the 49ers because I'm a Niner fan. We needed that for the rebuilding.
Hey, and you know what, Jimmy? You're absolutely right. Thanks for the phone call. Stacey, Jimmy's right. San Francisco needed a jump start, and they got it in the form of Ryan Pace and the Chicago Bears. There's no question about it.
Chicago needed a jump start, and they just threw it away.
They gave it up.
No, we don't need it. We can start it ourselves.
They sold it to the Niners for Mitchell Trubisky, or Mitch Trubisky. I still am not quite sure what we're supposed to call him. All right, we're going to talk some local soccer happenings coming up next year on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. The 11th annual Stella Artois Iron Chef Tucson returns to the Westin La Paloma June 3rd. 2 new competitors will vie for the Iron Chef Tucson crown. You can vote for your favorite now or after Meet the Chef's Night Wednesday, May 3rd at the Rialto. That is sponsored by Rio Nuevo. Details at our website, ESPNTucson.com. One of my favorite events in Tucson every year. Food, beer, La Paloma, done. That's all there is to it. We're going to talk about Roger Goodell and pot. We're getting to that next. The tone-deaf nature of the association continues to blow my mind, though it probably shouldn't. We'll get back into the draft here shortly, but now I want to bring in Arizona men's soccer coach Eric Rhodes to enlighten us on this weekend's activities. Rhodesy, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's great to have you with us. And you know, one of the things that's really cool about this weekend is not only does Arizona men's soccer get a chance to get some run, but you do it with FC Tucson, with Phoenix Rising. What is it like to be able to not only compete against FC Tucson, but to bring a team like Phoenix Rising down to compete against us?
Man, it's awesome for my guys, and what an environment. It's great for Tucson. I mean, as far as the soccer fan goes,
yeah.
You're going to get a chance on Saturday to see what we're kind of touting is excellence on 3 levels. You have my club, which of course I'm a little biased towards, but we're back-to-back conference champs, 23 wins in 2 years. FC Tucson, which is 3-time defending conference champions. And then Phoenix Rising, who are making just mind-blowing moves on the level that they're on in the USL. And bringing in guys like, with Drogba coming in, it's just what you're going to have a chance to see on Saturday tomorrow is really something I haven't seen in Tucson in my entire soccer life.
Well, I mean, when you talk about what Phoenix Rising has done, we thought the big signing for them was going to be Omar Bravo, and I'm not saying that it's not a big signing, but bringing in a guy like Didier Drogba, I mean, I'm not a soccer guy, Eric, you know this. Can you put that into perspective? I mean, David Beckham was here 5-6 years ago.
Right, and Beckham was playing for the Galaxy, which, in the MLS, America's top level.
Right.
Drogba playing in the USL, which is a phenomenal league, but it's essentially AAA. And so the equation I've made since I heard this was imagine Derek Jeter coming back to play against the Toros.
Yeah, well, I remember, and I know this is different, but I remember when Randy Johnson pitched for would have been the Sidewinders out at Keno and standing out in the left field grass, and there was like 10,000 people watching the bullpen session. I mean, that was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, in baseball they'll make stint starts and they'll come down for rehab. Right. Drogba's on this team.
Well, and in fact,
this is his club.
Well, he's here to not only play but to buy it?
Yeah, he's now part owner of the Phoenix Rising. I mean, the moves they're making on a USL level are unparalleled and unheard of, really.
What is that? I know we want to talk about your guys, but I'm curious because we look at the state of soccer in Arizona. What does the move that Phoenix is making, what does that do for the overall brand in Arizona?
It just solidifies it as something that, is already existed, but just very quietly. Soccer's got a quiet, huge following.
Right.
When they had the World Cup match here a couple of years ago with, the qualifier with Mexico and USA.
That was huge.
It's 70,000 people. I mean, it's crazy. I went up last time the women's national team played in Phoenix, and, again, that's 45,000. Soccer's got a huge following. I think the Phoenix community would do well. And for us down in Tucson with the job that MLS and FC Tucson has done bringing that spring training style here, it really just kind of makes Arizona this destination for soccer outside of your home fan base in your home city.
Well, and what does that do for your guys? I mean, I know this is club soccer, and again, you guys have great facilities at William Davidson Field, but what does it do to be able to get into this kind of atmosphere as far as development goes for you?
You know me, I'm kind of a sports nerd and I love research, and so I've tried to look at this a little bit, and it'll be hard to do, but I think we're probably one of the only teams in the nation who are going to play an MLS team in the Red Bulls that we did earlier in the spring.
Right.
The Phoenix Rising Saturday night, and then a close scrimmage with FC Tucson next week. We're going to play an MLS team, USL team, and PDL team all in about a 3-month span.
What are you, Tom Izzo? Like, what's happening here?
But it's tremendous. I mean, I tell my guys every night, and they're probably getting tired of hearing it, but I'm going, man, drink it in a little bit. Tomorrow night, take it in. You're going to be on the same field as 3 World Cup players and a guy who, 2 guys who wore the Chelsea uniform in Drogba and Sean Wright Phillips. But it's one thing.
They had Sean Wright Phillips too.
Yeah,
Lord.
It's one thing that we're trying to do as a club is establish again for the fan base in Tucson that, hey, once FC Tucson season is over, there's still some good soccer you can see here in Tucson. The U of A women's team putting on a great product with Tony Amato that we want to give another option that, hey, if you want to come out and watch, there's good soccer right here in your backyard.
Well, and there absolutely is, and with FC Tucson, with the Arizona men's and women's programs. And, one of the things I'm curious about, Rhodes, I've been to a ton of scrimmages and things like this, but I don't think I've ever seen a single game round robin. Not as if you play everybody, but everybody in the same game bounces in and out. I don't think I've ever seen that ever.
I've played this game a long, long time. To conceal my age, I won't say how long. But I haven't been a part of this either. But I actually really like it. First as a coach, you're like, man, 45 minutes, that's kind of short by the time you guys are ready. But it's something you can't pass up. It's great for the Rising because they can get a couple of different looks in. It's great for FC Tucson because they're slowly getting their guys who will be their team here. It's a great 45 minutes for them. And we're calling it kind of in our circles a celebration of soccer because, again, you're going to see 3 levels in 90 minutes. And, one of the big complaints of the casual fan is it's a long game. But, you're going to have a change of a completely different team 45 minutes in. And it's going to be, for fan bases that, are coming to see U of A, you're going to get to see FC Tucson and maybe see some players you really like and come back to a match or two this summer. And vice versa. FC Tucson fans, stick around, watch us in the second half. And, hey, make the trip up to Phoenix. A lot of people do in the summers for staycations. Go check out the Rising. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, so we talk about the, I don't know, complexity is the right word, but the difference in this scrimmage. What do you want out of your guys? I mean, obviously the level against which you're going is going to be a ton higher. What do you want to see, and what do you want to have accomplished at the end?
2 things, really. One, compete. I want them to believe that they can compete. We took on the Red Bulls in a very similar 45-minute session, and we were 0-0 30 minutes in, which is an accomplishment. Absolutely. Sure. We ended up, giving up 4 in the next 15 minutes. But I really want them to see that, hey, they can compete and believe in themselves. And then really it's a speed thing. As you know, and you've been around sports, any level you step up, the speed is so much different. Right. And so my goal is when they see the speed, and this will be our last match of the spring before we go into our competitive season in the fall, is if you can get used to that speed, the speed in our conference and our level is going to be nowhere close. And if we can play at that speed and continue to be consistent at that pace, it's going to be tough to handle us.
This is your last match of the year before you break and then come back for the fall. How do you bottle what you learned and hope that it carries until
YouTube? YouTube and Facebook Live. It'll be on both streams tomorrow. And I've told the guys, hey, tell mom, tell grandma who lives in Michigan. I've got guys from all over the country, all over the world, playing. Watch, show people all summer. Hey, you got a chance to be on the field. Hey, if Omar Bravo megs you, I'll show that. Make sure that gets a couple 100,000 views.
Yeah. Well, and what a perfect answer for a guy that coaches high school kids. How do you help? YouTube. I don't even know why I asked. FC Tucson, Phoenix Rising, and Arizona men's soccer, April 29th. That is this Saturday. My God, that is tomorrow, 7:30 Keno Sports Complex. I think FC Tucson for tickets. Show up at the door.
Yeah, FCTucson.com. It's $10. If you use the promo code Wildcats, a portion goes to our program, which is great, and then $2 beers.
Oh, man. I'm leaving right now to camp out in line to make sure that I am first. Well, Eric, get the most out of this and certainly have a good time this weekend.
It's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for the time.
Oh, man, always great to have our good friend Eric Rhodes. We're coming back talking about NFL and, the good stuff. More of the Zach Clark Show is next on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. So, as you and I know, Mattress Firm sale, which is great. But eventually, you have to find a way to do yourself one better, and Mattress Firm has done that right now. They are getting ready, I should say, for the latest and greatest in sleep technology. So right now, they're offering truly historic savings of up to 70% off, up to $2,000 off of floor models. That is right. You heard me correctly. And I'm not talking about some no-name mattress, some brand you've never heard of. I'm talking about the top name brand mattresses, the best quality mattresses at savings of up to 70% off, up to $2,000 off of floor models. And look, this is not one of those things ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. I'm Zach Clark. Always great to be with you. 298-1490, All Pro Plumbing Studio Line. We're back to the NFL Draft at 4:05. We're going to spend a ton of time on this today. It is, without question, the leading story in the sports world. We will get to the NBA playoffs. Plenty of action tonight. And as you know, when I'm wrong, I am wrong. And I was wrong about the first round of the NBA playoffs. Remember, I said they were useless. You might as well just forward the top seeds ahead. Oops. Smoke them if you got them. Smoke them if you got them. We'll also talk about the Diamondbacks. Relatively big weekend for them. And we'll get into the Shelby Miller situation, for lack of a better term. Now, we have some fun with this. I just like pushing the button. I won't lie. Sometimes it really doesn't have any place. But here, boy, does he talk a lot. And there's a lot of Oh, that's cool, though, right? So here's what you have to do. Anytime you hear anything from anybody like Roger Goodell, somebody that has an agenda, somebody that has an angle, you got to really think about it. Does he really think that marijuana, the marijuanas, the wacky tobaccos, does he really think that they are addictive, that they are unhealthy, or is he towing the line of one of his biggest clients, Bud Light, big beer? Because, and again, I'm not advocating for beer. I love it, or against it, whatever. I think sometimes we take things that are very similar and put them into very different categories, and I don't know why we do this. Probably just social stigma, history, social convention, on that same line. But big beer doesn't like pot. They don't like medical pot. They don't like legal pot. If you're going to become inebriated, the hell if it's going to be not on their dime. Get out of my way. Hey, are you getting high over there? No. Drink this. Hey, put that down. Drink this beer. That's how that goes. And so if you're Roger Goodell and you say, man, I love that Bud Light money. Is it InBev now that owns Anheuser-Busch? I can't keep it straight. I love that big fat check we get every month. Oh, man. And you say, hey, you know what might threaten that check? Weed. Yeah, we don't like weed. No, we don't like weed. Do you guys like weed? No, we don't like weed. So follow the money. Big beer doesn't like pot. The NFL likes big beer. The NFL doesn't like pot. That's it. Roger doesn't care what's addictive or unhealthy. They're jamming those guys full of so many painkillers every day. They don't care about that. They could say they do, but I have seen Varsity Blues. I know what happens behind that door. Don't do it, Wendell. So I'm not buying any of this. And here's the other thing. Even if the big beer wasn't part of the equation, what am I going to expect from old dudes? Who is in charge of the NFL? Roger Goodell? No. 32 billionaires. Or if you believe Mark Davis, 31 billionaires and one really rich guy. Right? But they don't, you think Stan Kroenke's like, hey, we should get high. And Jerry Jones like, oh yeah, pass that over here, bro. No way, man. No. Right? But if somebody said, hey, I've got here's what I want. I want the NFL to say, we just don't want you to use it. We don't want it. Oh, no, it's unhealthy. We're looking out for our guys. Oh, yeah, it's addictive. Just tell us the truth, man.
You can't monetize it. That's why.
Well, you could. Man, it could be like I don't know, Pineapple Express or Colombian Bam Bam or some kind of other OG Kush, the official pot of the NFL. Get high with the greatest. You could.
But as an illegal substance, you can't.
No.
That's why.
No, but I mean,
if pot was legal,
Denver has an NFL team.
Across the country.
Seattle has an NFL team.
Across the country where the NFL could market it.
They would still push away from it because it wouldn't produce the same amount of revenue as beer, and they'd have a conflict. I guarantee it. Because no matter if pot becomes legal nationwide or in all 50 states individually, it'll take a long time, if ever, to compete with the industry that beer has been building for over a century. And so I don't. It's all about would they take money if they could get it? Yeah, but if Anheuser-Busch or InBev says no.
And I don't think it's just necessarily the beer company. I think it's also your big pharmaceuticals and the pain medicines and stuff that they use.
But they'll never talk about that one because they would never admit to that. Oh yeah. Oh, the two main opponents of legal pot, without question, are big beer companies and pharma. They're easily because, and again, I'm not gonna get on a soapbox here, but heaven forbid you medicate yourself with something that came out of the ground. No, you gotta crush up into powder and you gotta inject it or swallow it. I'm not advocating for or against anything here, but it what I always tell people, anytime there's an agenda somewhere, you gotta really think about this. You may have your own personal belief on whether it's addictive and unhealthy, but what I'm telling you, whether you believe that or not, I don't believe the NFL actually believes that. I think that's what they want you to think that they believe, but what it really is they're protecting their investments, or they're protecting those that invest in them. And also, again, the old guys think, oh, pot, oh, no. No. Anybody have any ether? Well, these old guys, Jack the Ripper. Oh, not that old? Oh, okay. Some of them look that old, though. Did you know?
I'm not saying.
Did you know that Al Davis used to eat 11 fries? 11.
11 fries. That's it.
I mean, he wouldn't eat any more or less than that. But dude, if I was super rich
What
and crazy,
if they were all different sizes?
I don't think it matters. Dude, if I was super rich and crazy, I would do that too. Like if I was a musician like Jay-Z or something, I'd be like, all right, I want Skittles, but they all have to be red. But then I want another bowl, I want yellow ones. Separate. I would totally be that guy. I want trail mix, but take all the raisins out of it. And I want to see you eat them.
No wonder you love Mariah Carey. You're a diva as well.
I said I would be. I don't actually get to be that way. Who am I going to say that to? You? And then what are you going to tell me? I mean, I can't repeat those words on the air, but I can think that way. But the difference between me and like Mariah Carey or Jay-Z or Beyonce or whatever is I think that way. They are that way.
I would tell you are number one, Zach.
Yeah. You picked it up on the line. Oh, no cameras on you today. Aren't you lucky? So we can end the conversation on this right here. I think we can say with certainty this is not going to happen. Stigma moves on balloting process and the voting process. It's been legalized different places, and in some places it's been voted upon and shot down. Here, for example.
Where was this conversation last Thursday?
Yeah, I wasn't here, and I would have. If I If you've been waiting for the right time to get yourself a brand new car, sorry, I had to get my George Gray on, then the time is now. Join us on Thursday, May 11th at Royal Buick Cadillac GMC in the Tucson Auto Mall. We'll be doing our show live from 3 to 6 and helping you get into the car of your dreams. Stacey, you think they'll have the car of my dreams?
I don't know. I hope they have the one of my dreams. I need a new car.
I could use a new car, too. I mean, think they'll just give us one?
I doubt it.
I mean, that's the only way they're going to help me get into the car of my dreams at this point. You just got to give it to me. That'd be great.
I do know they'll have some great buys there.
Think they'll let me drive one?
Drive one?
Like me?
Yeah, they'll let anybody do a test drive, basically.
Yeah.
I guess not anybody, but most people.
No, I don't want to do a test drive with like the other guys in the car. I want to drive it, just me. I'll be back in a...
Do they do that anymore?
Do what? No,
just like let people go take a test drive by themselves?
I've bought a few new cars, and I've never... No.
Well, it used to be where, go ahead and take it for the day. See if you like it.
I'm talking about like a 10-minute test drive.
Yeah.
Like where they keep making you turn right until you get back to the dealership. I don't know.
I've had people, friends, and relatives where they had the car for like a 24-hour period to see if you liked it.
I don't think I've ever had that happen. But now that I know it's a thing,
I don't know if it's a thing anymore. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, you're saying it used to be?
Yes. I don't know if it still is.
Oh. Well, I think on, what is this? Was it like next Wednesday or Thursday? Like a week and a half?
2 weeks on the 11th.
Either way, we're going to figure out how we can make that happen. Stacey and I are on it. Again, that is May 11th. We'll be at Royal Buick Cadillac GMC.
2 weeks from yesterday.
Perfect. We'll get back in the NFL draft here in just a second. But, Stacey, do you remember when I said the first round of the NBA playoffs is stupid and
I do remember that.
Canceled?
And what did I tell you? You're an idiot.
Well, yes. But
it's worth playing. There are upsets. There are good series that happen in the first round.
Well, there have not been upsets yet. The 4 teams that are through, or the 5 teams that are through, are all higher seeded than their opponent was.
But are there not some good series that are happening?
There are. And there are. I mean, watching Atlanta, I thought Boston-Chicago would be terrible. Especially with, I misread, and how could you read it the right way? How could you know what somebody's going through? I misread the Isaiah Thomas and his sister situation. I may have, and not intentionally, but minimalized it a little bit. Not really one of those things where you assume, like you watch Brett Favre and his dad dies and he throws like 100 touchdown passes and you go, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm not saying that Isaiah Thomas is weak. I'm not questioning his testicular fortitude at all. But some of us, and I don't think I could do this, some of us can't do what Brett Favre did. Mm-hmm. No matter how good you are, no matter how tough you are, when that happens to you, it no longer becomes a measure of toughness. It's what you can handle as a human being. And again, there's no comment on strength or on will. I think that I underestimated the impact that it would have. And how can one do that? Underestimate? Because I don't know what that's like. Thank God I don't know what that's like. As we look at tonight, tonight, when I get home, when I get out of here, I'm all over the dial. I'll have the NFL draft on probably a tablet or a laptop, but, Stacey, you talk about the first round being worth it. Well, if that's true, tonight's your payoff. 3 game sixes, 3 elimination games, and those that are on the ropes.
Yeah, some very good series.
Well, and Chicago and Atlanta can stave off elimination at home, and Utah can close it at home. So there's a lot going on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that are...
let alone NHL playoffs, second round starting there.
The second round underway. And, there's been the NHL playoffs. I know we don't talk a ton of hockey here, but there's been some really good games over in the battle for Lord Stanley's Cup. This is one of the best times of the year with playoffs in the NBA and the NHL, and then the NFL draft. The NFL draft was as hot fire last night as it's ever been. You couldn't even get near the stove. It was like watching a shuttle launch. You got to stay a mile away from the heat. It's too intense. Oh, my goodness. Let's talk about that NFL draft, and we'll be joined by Chris Hill at 422 to get some sports biz chat. Always love hooking up with Chris, but heavy on the NFL draft in the 4 o'clock hour next.